Are you wondering about the cost of living in Germany compared to the cost of living in Istanbul, Turkey? In this video, I'll provide a detailed cost breakdown of all our monthly expenses based on our time living in Germany and compared to our current life in Istanbul. If you're considering moving to Germany or moving to Istanbul, this will give you a clear idea of how much it costs to live in either place. I spent most of my life in Germany until 1.5 years ago when we moved to Istanbul. In this video, I'll compare our actual monthly expenses during our time in Germany with our living expenses in Istanbul. This comparison is based on the cost of living for two adults. Additionally, I'll discuss how easy or difficult it is to earn a good salary in each country and share how we financially prepared for a move to Istanbul. Let's start with rent in Germany, specifically cold rent, which excludes utilities. Rent varies greatly depending on the city. Let's assume a one-bedroom apartment with 60 square meters. The most expensive city is Munich, where rent is around 1300 euros per month. In other major cities like Frankfurt, Hamburg, Berlin, Cologne, and Düsseldorf, rents range between 800 and 1000 euros per month. We paid 735 euros for a newly built two-bedroom apartment in an industrial city near Düsseldorf. However, finding an apartment in German cities is very challenging and often takes months due to very limited housing supply. In Istanbul, we don't pay rent since we own our apartment. However, renting a one-bedroom apartment in central districts like Beyoğlu, Şişli, Beşiktaş, Kadıköy, or Üsküdar typically costs between 600 and 1000 euros per month. Prices can go much higher if you're looking for luxury properties or exclusive neighborhoods. For this comparison, let's assume an average rent of 800 euros in Istanbul. Interestingly, when you compare the most expensive cities in Germany with central areas in Istanbul, rent is in a similar range. However, rents in all other Turkish cities are significantly cheaper than in Istanbul. Next are utilities. In Germany, we pay 245 euros for gas, water, common dues, property tax, and building insurance. These costs were included in what is called warm rent. In total, our rent, including these utilities, amounted to 980 euros. Let me explain the utilities in more detail. Gas costs 58 euros and is used for heating and hot water. Costs can be higher in older buildings with poor insulation. Common dues cover services like elevator maintenance, cleaning of common areas, and garbage collection. In Germany, property tax is paid by the tenant, unlike in Turkey and many other countries. Mandatory building and liability insurance were also part of these utilities. In Istanbul, these expenses are far lower, totaling 68 euros. Gas here is used for heating, hot water, and cooking. Next are two more utility items. In Germany, electricity costs 80 euros and internet 50 euros per month. Additionally, there is an 18 euro mandatory fee for public broadcasting. These utilities add up to 150 euros. In Istanbul, electricity and internet cost only 20 euros per month combined. When all utilities are added up, our costs in Germany were nearly 400 euros compared to just 88 euros in Istanbul. Especially gas and electricity prices have risen sharply in Germany in recent years. Because of overall inflation in the last years, I also made some adjustments in almost all our costs back then to reflect current prices. Let's move on to groceries. In Germany, we spend about 500 euros per month. These include supermarket items, drugstore purchases, and halal meat from special Turkish shops. Due to discount supermarket giants like Aldi and Lidl, Germany boasts some of the cheapest grocery prices in Europe. In Istanbul, our grocery expenses are around 380 euros per month. This includes weekly trips to local markets for fresh fruits and vegetables. I must note here, you don't get the same fresh taste of fruits and vegetables in Germany. Our next cost item are restaurants and cafes. In Germany, we rarely dined out, only about once or twice per month. This costs us around 70 euros monthly. Germany doesn't have a strong dining out culture like Spain, Italy, or Turkey. We also prepared our desserts at home. In contrast, in Istanbul, we eat out 3 to 4 times per week and spend about 260 euros per month. Additionally, we get all our desserts from bakeries or patisseries. Combining our grocery expenses with our restaurant and cafe cafe costs, the total amount is quite similar in both countries. However, in Istanbul, we can afford to enjoy eating out every other day. For clothing, household items and online orders, we spend around 200 euros per month in Germany compared to 160 euros in Istanbul. Public transportation is the next expense type. In Germany, we only needed one monthly ticket, which currently costs 58 euros. In Istanbul, we have two monthly tickets totaling 85 euros. In addition, we occasionally use taxis for around 8 euros. In total, we spent 93 euros on public transportation and taxis in Istanbul. Next are cars. In Germany, we had one small car which cost us 440 euros per month. This amount included the lease, insurance and petrol. In Istanbul, we don't own a car as cars are super expensive in Turkey. They cost almost 3 times the price in Germany. For example, a brand new Mercedes E-Class starts at 55,000 euros in Germany compared to 138,000 euros in Turkey. The next cost item is education. In Germany, public schools are free of charge and of good quality. This applies to primary and secondary schools as well as universities. There are also private schools, but almost all parents prefer public schools due to their high standards. In Turkey, public schools are also free of charge. The quality of primary schools in Istanbul varies and depends on the neighborhood. There are very good public middle and high schools, but these are super selective and it is very competitive to get in. Most people who can afford it prefer private schools. There are many to choose from. Tuition fees for top international private schools range between 1,000 and 2,000 euros per month. For example, the German school run by the German embassy costs 1,200 euros per month. There are also more affordable private schools, but their quality varies. Let us now have a look at health insurance. During our time in Germany, I was enrolled in the public health insurance scheme. The premium was directly subtracted from my salary, whereby employers cover almost half of the cost. In Istanbul, we pay 17 euros per month for the universal insurance program SGK, which covers my entire family. We can visit our family doctor and public hospitals free of charge. The next item are costs for pharmacies and private hospitals. In Germany, we spend in average 15 euros per month on medicine. Public health insurance in Germany also covers required treatments in private hospitals. Note, there is no difference of quality level in public and private hospitals in Germany. In contrast, some private hospitals in Istanbul have 5-star hotel-like standards. In 2024, we paid in average 15 euros to private hospitals and additionally 10 euros on medicine in Istanbul. Our remaining costs in Germany amount to about 100 euros per month. This includes 2 mobile phone plans, a monthly barber visit and subscriptions like Netflix and YouTube Premium amongst others. In Istanbul, these same items cost us about 75 euros. If we add everything up, our total monthly expenses in Germany were around 2,500 euros. This compares to around 1,900 euros monthly expenses in Istanbul. However, since we don't pay rent in Istanbul, our current monthly expenses are around 1,100 euros. Note, this breakdown does not include one-off costs like vacations, furniture or electronics. The figure for Germany might increase up to 550 euros if you choose to live in Munich or other expensive cities. Apart from rent, almost all other cost items are quite similar in any city in Germany and Turkey alike. Rent is the single biggest location factor. So what is more expensive in each country? In Germany, utilities, restaurants, public transportation, taxis and health insurance are more expensive than in Turkey. In Turkey, cars and top private schools are very expensive. Additionally, electronics and red meat are substantially costlier compared to Germany. If you plan to live in a premium place in Istanbul, own a car and send your children to top private schools, then your monthly expenses will far exceed those in Germany. Up to this point, I focused only on financial figures. Now I'd like to share a few thoughts on living standards and happiness for different groups. Firstly, digital nomads. Many digital nomads earn more than 2,000 euros per month. If you have a 100% remote job, you can move from a Western country to a beautiful and affordable place and increase your living standards substantially. This is no secret and this cost overview just confirms it. Secondly, retired people. If you own a property along the Aegean, Mediterranean or in Istanbul, you can enjoy a great life for 1,000 euros per month for 2 people. Thirdly, people in the middle middle class in Germany. This also applies to many other Western countries. Many people in Germany are just in working mode. I see Germany as a great place to work, but not to find happiness. Many people seem unhappy. I know many people who travel multiple times per year to spend a few weeks in beautiful places around the world, and they are solely happy during those vacation periods. These are individuals with well-paying jobs, but it is not easy to escape the hamster wheel. Number 4 is our own situation and life in Istanbul. For over 1.5 years, we live in one of the most beautiful places on this planet. People living in Istanbul can enjoy a kind of short vacation every weekend. Istanbul has so much to offer, and there are still many beautiful places we have not yet visited. However, the other side of the coin is Istanbul is a tough city for earning good money. Finding a job at a local company that pays 2,000 euros or more is very challenging. Many people earn only a fraction of that, and life in Istanbul is a big struggle. It's important to emphasize this point. Many people living in Istanbul are unhappy with their living standards because of their monthly income. Life in Istanbul and Turkey is amazing if you earn good money or already have money. Otherwise, Turkey and especially Istanbul can be a very tough place to live. In contrast, in Germany, earning 2,500 euros or more is not difficult. Even if you don't work, you can maintain a decent minimum living standard thanks to a strong social safety net. Coming back to our situation, we didn't leave our life in Germany and move to Istanbul just like that. I would strongly advise against this approach. I spent over 7 years investing in properties in Istanbul and carefully preparing for a move financially. I purchased our own property in Istanbul in 2018 and have bought many investment properties in the city since then. We moved to Istanbul only when we were financially secure and able to live comfortably off our rental income. In my next videos, I'll discuss topics like work, life, happiness, and financial independence in Istanbul and compare them to Germany. If you want to have a more detailed monthly breakdown of our cost of living in Istanbul, check out this video here. Thanks for watching.